Good evening. This is the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Shan Russell, and tonight we focus on the intense negotiations that are on in Jammu and Kashmir between the BJP and the PDP over government formation in the state. And of course, the other parties are not stepping out of the race either, and we'll be talking about what's been happening over there a little later in the show. But first up, the headlines we're tracking right now. Suspense continues in Jammu and Kashmir over formation of the new government. PDP sets condition for a tie-up as the BJP buys more time to take a final call. The army chief reviews troop deployment in Assam against NDFBS militants. Blame game continues over state government's alleged ignorance of an IB alert. The cold wave continues unabated in North India with over 100 people dead. Dense fog returns to hit air and rail traffic. And Pakistan's crackdown against militants continues. Orders arrest of Red Mosque cleric who defended the Peshawar attack and is also set to appeal against Lakhvi's bail. At our top story tonight, hectic negotiations are on in Jammu and Kashmir to form the next government. Now, the PDP has taken a no-compromise stand on a tie-up with the BJP. It wants the BJP's assurance on a number of contentious issues before any commitments. Hinting at negotiations, BJP said a final call on any tie-up will take some time.
The PDP leadership seems to be caught in a catch-22 situation. A section of the party strongly opposes an alliance with the BJP on the grounds that such a partnership can reverse the gains made by the party in the polls. The party has been invited by the governor to discuss on government formation along with the BJP. After initial talks between the two parties, some sticking points have emerged. PDP wants assurance from BJP on certain issues first. PDP wants its candidate for the post of Chief Minister for the next 6 years. It wants AFSPA to be phased out of the valley. The party also wants talks to resolve Kashmir issue without any interference from the leaders in Jammu, the mass base for all BJP MLAs. PDP spokesperson Naeem Akhtar said that his party has taken a non-negotiable stand on Article 370 for tie-up with any parties. However, he kept the doors open for all parties for a possible tie-up. For BJP, the big question is how much the party is ready to compromise to form its first government in the valley. As of now, the party seems to be taking its time to decide that.
बातचीत चल रही है, अभी कुछ कहना मुश्किल है. अभी ये कोई डेडलाइंस पर तो काम नहीं होता है. जल्दी हो जाए यही हमारा प्रयास है.
जो रीजनल इम्बैलेंस है उसका समाप्त करते हुए कुछ 1947 से लेके कुछ पेंडिंग इश्यूज हैं, जैसे रिफ्यूजीज का मामला है, बाकी कुछ मामले हैं.
However, BJP remains confident and in no mood to waste what they claim to be a crucial mandate. If talks with PDP fail, the party might look into other options like National Conference. Meanwhile, Congress, which came fourth with 12 seats, has offered support to PDP to keep BJP out. With Shyam Sundar, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Senior journalist Rahul Jalali has been keeping a track of all these developments that have been happening in Kashmir. Thank you very much for coming in, sir. But very simply, I mean, how possible is it, this BJP-PDP tie-up? I mean, there are negotiations on, stands have to be cleared, but what is the distinct possibility right now of the next government?
Well, I think, this is the only possible alliance, if I put it that way, because your correspondent mentioned about other alliances. Which BJP might have. She talked of National Conference in particular, but that alliance is over. Mr. Omar Abdullah is not even in the country, he's gone to London, and there was a minor revolt within his party when the question of allying with BJP came up. So that's when he tweeted that there have been no talks with BJP.
Right.
And an invitation was also given to PDP for that they will give unconditional support to them. So the only possibility which remains is the BJP-PDP alliance. The good point about this alliance is that the state, which has been divided between Jammu and Kashmir in the current elections, the manner in which the mandate has happened, this division can be bridged by a BJP-PDP alliance. But PDP also has to sell this alliance within its cadre and within the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And that's where the question of these sticky points which your correspondent mentioned comes in. They want to go in with BJP on a common minimum program, which would be an agenda of sort of this alliance. And I think it's a good thing, because if in the beginning, if all these issues like Article 370, ASPA, and even the question of chief ministership is clarified, I don't think it will lead to problems in the near future. I think, so this is what's happening. It's on the negotiation table. This is the only alliance which is being negotiated in Jammu and Kashmir. The rest are all up in the air.
All right, but the Up in the Air alliance, I mean, we've seen a lot of rainbow coalitions come about, especially as far as the BJP is concerned. I mean, it was the cornerstone of the attack for all the other political parties, saying that if you do not vote us in, the BJP comes to power. So, I mean, does that dynamic affect the relationships right now?
No, I don't think so, because, BJP is a major player, and you cannot keep Jammu out of any power equation within Jammu and Kashmir. Doing that, no government would be comfortable by keeping BJP in the opposition. Secondly, for any government to form in Kashmir, see, Kashmir is a revenue-starved state. It's totally dependent on the centre to run its show. So you cannot have a centre which is at loggerheads with the local government. I mean, the government won't function. There'll be no money. So I think it's imperative. I mean, this was a statement made by Dr. Farooq Abdullah long time ago, when he said that any government in Jammu and Kashmir has to be on the right side of the government in the centre. So I think this still holds. Maybe it's not really the manner in which he interpreted it, but it makes things easier. Secondly, also remember that one of the points of this common minimum program is the kind of package which would be given for flood relief. And that there is mutual agreement on that. On many issues, there seems to be an agreement. Article 370, I do not think, is that big a problem as it's made out to be. If you remember...
But can the BJP let go of such an issue, which, I mean, often when the BJP's entire program is talked about of their thinking, Article 370 is one of the main reasons, I mean, behind Jang Sangh in the BJP.
Yeah, it was. I would put it in the past tense, because they've already allowed it to go. If you look at their manifesto for the assembly elections, Article 370 doesn't exist in that manifesto. So they've already, in a way, given up. Also, when Prime Minister Modi went and spoke in Kashmir, he did not mention Article 370. So it was only one of their ministers who talked about Article 370 and faced a revolt from their star candidate in Kashmir. So I do not think Article 370 is going to be such a sticky issue. The issue which they need to hammer out is the question of ASPA. I don't know how far would the BJP be able to go on the issue of removal of Armed Forces Special Protection Act. But the fact remains that maybe they could tinker around on all these issues. It's a question of how do you put it. There is a general agreement that they need to be together. I don't think the Chief Minister issue is any more a ticklish issue. This whole question of 6 years in power, I don't think that's a major issue anymore. But these other couple of issues might be something which needs working out. And I think the final agreement will happen the day you hear that Mr. Mufti Mohammad Saeed is coming to Delhi for high-level talks.
All right, so perhaps we'll have to wait for that to happen. I mean, he's expected to come today, but I don't know whether...
No, I don't think he's come.
Yeah, so he's not coming today. Let's see whether this sort of standoff can be resolved and the new government finally comes to power in Jammu and Kashmir. But Mr. Rahul Jalali, thank you very much for coming in and sharing perspective on this issue with us. All right, moving on now onto Assam, where Army Chief General Dalbir Singh Suhag reviewed deployment of forces to intensify operations and violence at Assam. Now, protests continue in the state as well as neighbouring West Bengal against the NDFBS attacks that killed over 80 people. Meanwhile, the political blame game continues over the Assam government's alleged ignorance to an IB alert on the attacks.
Army Chief General Dalbir Singh Suhag held a meeting with senior officials in Guwahati on Saturday to review the situation in Assam. The Army Chief directed the troops to extend all possible support to the state administration in bringing back normalcy. More than 80 people have been killed in the state following attack by Bodo militants. Thousands have fled homes to live in relief camps. Around 2,000 people have taken shelters in refugee camps in neighbouring West Bengal. Local administration is providing them food, medicines and clothes.
वो लोग उग्रवादी जो मिलने से हम लोग को मार देता है, वही प्रॉब्लम है। जैसे हम लोग को लगता है कि हम लोग भारतीय का कोई नागरिक नहीं है।
कि आज जो आदिवासी लोग को हम लोग को सरकार में आसाम में मारा गया है, वो लोग को घर से बेघर किया गया है, उसको वो लोग अपना स्थान पर वो लोग को पहुंचाया जाए।
Meanwhile, protests continue in Assam over the killings. The government faced questions over its failure to prevent the killings. Tarun Gogoi government has been accused of ignoring alerts from Intelligence Bureau regarding possible strikes by the militants. Parties like AASU demanded strong action against the NDFBS militants in the state.
This attack, there was a credible and specific intelligence report which was generated by the IB in Guwahati from September to November, and there were 5 times there were major alerts which were given. The government of Assam, Mr. Gogoi himself has said that we could not bring the police to the areas because they were in interiors and the time was too less for us to mobilize the forces.
We are demanding that the government must adopt effective strategy, strongest effective strategy to root out terrorism from the soil of Assam, and they must adopt effective strategy to prevent violence.
Meanwhile, NIA is set to begin the investigation into the attacks after direction from the Home Ministry. During his visit to Assam this week, Home Minister Rajnath Singh had announced an NIA probe into the case. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, yet another confirmation of underworld don Dawood Ibrahim living and doing business in Karachi, Pakistan. Western intelligence agencies have released a recent telephone recording of a now 60-year-old Dawood talking to a business associate in Dubai. The tapes have set off fresh calls for his extradition from Pakistan for masterminding anti-India terror.
Calls for pressure on Pakistan to hand him over to India have long been a part of Indian politics and anti-terror strategy. Dawood's living freely and flourishing in Karachi has been the stuff of speculation. Now we know for sure. Recent recordings from his phone tapped by the satellite surveillance wing of a Western intelligence agency trace him to the posh Clifton suburb in Karachi. The tape records Dawood conducting a property deal with one Javed in Dubai in typical above-the-law talk. Sample this.
I'm not going to any court. I have a court of my own. I am the judge of my own case. I do no injustice to anyone and nor will I allow it to happen to myself. Do you understand? I would not have asked for information so lovingly. I know how to take out information and that is the only way I extract information. None of the losses should come on me because you are part of the company and you are also part of the company that will bear the losses. I don't want to get involved in any of this.
India's research and analysis wing RAW has asked for the tapes for further scrutiny as the government looks to strengthen its case against Pakistan on the matter.
दाऊद का जहां तक प्रश्न है वो मोस्ट वांटेड लोगों में से है, जिसके संबंध में कि भारत ने भी पाकिस्तान से कहा है कि उसे हवाले किया जाना चाहिए और प्रतीक्षा कीजिए.
Evidences were always there and everybody knows where Dawood is. He's based in Karachi. It's already a stated, position which government of India has taken, and the demand of the government of India is always known, and already Pakistan has been under pressure that he should be handed over.
Defense and intelligence experts speak of raising the issue of Dawood's extradition from Pakistan during Obama's visit to India next month and using the tapes to step up pressure on the neighbour. Safe asylum for Dawood in Pakistan has long been a bone of contention between India and Pakistan.
Pakistan will stand totally exposed. So they are not in a position to admit that Dawood is there. And it's an open secret. Obama will not be able to help in any case because Obama is also I mean, he also knows that there's only such a limit where the civilian government can proceed in Pakistan. It is the army and the ISI which is deciding the foreign policy.
And there is one central principle when we come to intelligence, as they often say, if you talk to the professionals, there is no intelligence sharing. There's only intelligence trading, meaning that if it is in my interest, I will share some bits of intelligence with you, expecting that there would be a give and take.
The issue goes back 21 years now to the serial blasts in Mumbai in 1993. More than 300 people were killed in those attacks, traced to Dawood Ibrahim as the terror kingpin. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, time for a very quick break right now, but coming up on the other side, Health Minister JP Nadda allays fears of the swine flu claims its first victim in Delhi this season. Welcome back. This is the news tonight. Now, the cold wave has intensified in northern India with at least 6 more deaths reported in Uttar Pradesh today. Dense fog returned to affect road raid and air traffic in North India. Delhi, in fact, recorded the second coldest day of the season so far.
Cold spell has halted normal lives in northern India. The death toll has gone up to 100 in Uttar Pradesh as temperature dipped to a new low. 6 people died in Bihar as well.
खाना उना खाया के बाद उसका न चक्कर आने लगा, देह हाथ घूमने लगा, बस लेके गए हॉस्पिटल, ले गए तो डॉक्टर ने बोला इसको ठंडा लग गया है।
अलाव की व्यवस्था की गई है और अलाव हर एक चौक चौराहा पर ये जल भी रहा है और इसकी जांच भी हम अनुमंडल पदाधिकारी से करवाए हैं।
Kashmir Valley woke up to see partially frozen Dal Lake and other water bodies, water taps. Mercury settled to 1.5 degrees Celsius, touching season's lowest minimum temperature. National capital also recorded the second lowest temperature of the season, with the mercury dipping to 4.8 degrees Celsius.
बहुत ज़्यादा ठंड पै रही जी, अग नाल भी मजा नहीं आ रहा।
मोटरसाइकिल चलाना बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा जी, अगे दिसदा ही कुछ नहीं, सामने नज़र ही कुछ नहीं आउंदा। उतों सड़कां टुटियां टोए जा वजदा, उदों पता लगदा खड़ा हुंदी।
Dense fog also returned in the northern region, affecting rail, road and air traffic massively. Close to 100 trains were delayed and at least 8 were cancelled due to poor visibility. According to Met Office, the trend could continue till next week. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the opposition parties have reacted rather strongly to reports that the centre might take the ordinance route for the land acquisition bill as well. According to sources, necessary directions have been issued to the Rural Development Ministry to get the draft ordinance vetted by the Law Ministry. The government plans to exclude 13 central laws to clear several infrastructure and public-private partnership projects. The Cabinet has already approved the ordinance route for coal and insurance reforms and also liberalised foreign investment policy in the medical devices sector. The opposition parties have raised objections about the centre taking the ordinance route to push through some key legislations. They accuse the government of resorting to undemocratic tactics.
1 year back, you are a party to the passage of the Land Act. The next year you want to bring out an ordinance in order to repeal it or in order to modify it. Whose interests are you serving? Are you serving the interests of the farmers of India? Or are you serving the interests of your corporate benefactors?
They are adding insult to injury by trying to push them through the ordinance route. Now, this is a parliamentary democracy where all laws are debated and passed and adopted after Parliament gives its approval.
संसद का मुकाबला करने में नाकामयाब रही मोदी सरकार अब अध्यादेशों के जरिए सरकार चलाना चाहती है जो अलोकतांत्रिक प्रक्रिया का हिस्सा है.
Health Minister JP Nadda today tried to allay fears of swine flu making a comeback in Delhi. He said there was no need to panic as government hospitals were fully equipped to deal with the disease. Health Minister's statement came a day after a 51-year-old woman from Ghaziabad succumbed to the flu at a private hospital in Delhi, becoming the first casualty of the H1N1 virus in the National Capital Region this year. According to the Directorate of Health Services, 6 cases of swine flu have been reported in the National Capital and its neighbouring region this month.
स्वाइन फ्लू का जो इन्फ्लुएंजा का जो एक किस्म का वायरस है, उसको निपटने के लिए सरकार सक्षम है और सभी हमारे डॉक्टर्स उसका उपचार करने के लिए केपेबल हैं। इसलिए हमने सब लोगों को अलर्ट भी किया है, लेकिन कोई पैनिक होने की, कोई घबराने की ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है।
All right, now come the new year and indirect subsidy in LPG cylinders all over the country will come to an end. From the 1st of January, only consumers with bank accounts linked to their LPG consumer IDs will receive subsidy directly into their bank accounts.
Want to continue receiving subsidy on LPG cylinders? Make sure your Aadhaar or bank account number is linked to your LPG consumer ID. Only if this procedure is complete will you get the subsidy amount, 568 rupees, credited directly into your bank account for up to 12 cylinders. Or you just pay the market price, 900 odd rupees a cylinder. The scheme is designed in such a way that no family gets over 7,000 rupees per year as subsidy.
बीपीएल कैटेगरी लोगों को हम कंसेशनल रेट पे हम उनको भी गैस सिलेंडर नया लगाने का व्यवस्था किया। जिनके पास बीपीएल कार्ड होगा, जिसको राज्य सरकार संबंधित राज्य सरकारों ने जिनको मान्यता दी होगी, उसको भी हम लोगों ने आज से लागू किया।
There are definite reasons for the steps being taken to curb diversion of subsidized LPG. For one, the government is short of cash and is exploring all options to minimize unregulated outflow of public money. The total subsidy on LPG for 2013-14 was 46,458 crore rupees, accounting for 25% of the overall fuel subsidy burden of nearly 1,40,000 crores. The direct LPG subsidy transfer initiative is part of the scheme titled Pahal. With the new measures, the government is likely to start saving big from next year. Proper implementation will require greater coverage of the Aadhaar program that still falls short in the states.
नेचुरली एक आधार के ऊपर अच्छा है, वो अभी नई टेक्नोलॉजी में आधार अच्छा है, मगर अभी क्षेत्र में नहीं गया पूरा आधार का। जो सरकार को बोल रहे हैं 70% 80%, मगर 50% ज़्यादा नहीं हुआ। उससे आधार के साथ साथ कंपलसरी वाइट रेशन कार्ड कंपलसरी देते हैं। सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का आधार कार्ड साथ साथ हमारा फूड सिक्योरिटी कार्ड के ऊपर भी गैस दे तो अच्छा रहता बोल के हम सोच रहे।
A family unit will be eligible for subsidy on one gas connection only. So if you have gas connections issued on different addresses, you will have to forego subsidy on one. Under the Pahal scheme, consumers who don't want to avail of the subsidy need to volunteer and notify the government. Raj Kamal Rao's report for Rajya Sabha television.
Right, time now for some other news from across the country and nationwide. A day after being announced as the first non-tribal Chief Minister of Jharkhand, Raghuvar Das met BJP President Amit Shah today. He expressed his gratitude to the party president. He also assured Shah of good governance in Jharkhand. The oath-taking ceremony of the new Chief Minister will take place in the state capital, Ranchi, tomorrow. 4 Janata Dal United MLAs were disqualified from the Bihar Legislative Assembly for anti-party activities. Speaker Uday Narayan Chaudhary disqualified Ajit Kumar, Raju Singh, Poonam Devi Yadav and Suresh Chanchal under the provisions of the anti-defection law. Pakistani troops violated ceasefire twice today along the borders of Jammu and Kathua districts. This is the 4th ceasefire violation in the past 4 days. However, there was no loss of life or injury to anyone in the firing exchange. A fire at a timber mart in Bhiwandi left at least 8 dead and 3 seriously injured. The fire broke early today and spread to at least 3 other adjacent godowns. At last, a dozen fire engines rushed to the site to control the flames. Some international news now. The Pakistan government is to appeal against bail for 26/11 terror accused Zakir Rahman Lakhvi when the courts reopen after the winter break. As Pakistan continues its crackdown on terror elements, a Pak cleric who'd refused to condemn the 16 December Peshawar school massacre now faces arrest. Here's more happening in that country.
Maulana Abdul Aziz, the cleric who said there was nothing wrong with the massacre of nearly 140 children and then allegedly threatened activists who criticized him. A Pakistani court has issued an arrest warrant against him. But the cleric himself, the head of the Red Mosque in Islamabad, remains defiant.
पर मुख्तलिफ मुकदमात हैं, सबके लिए एक उमूमी माफ़ी का ऐलान किया जाए
और कहें जाए कि कुरान और सुन्नत को नाफिज किया जाए। मुझ पर तो छोटा मुकदमा है, मुझे कोई मसला नहीं है, मेरे पर तो वो एक SHO भी उसकी जमानत ले सकता है।
Pakistan has stepped up anti-terror operations since the school attack. On Friday, security forces killed a Taliban commander who they believe facilitated the massacre.
सदाम तहरीक-ए-तालिबान तारिक गिदड़ ग्रुप का ऑपरेशनल कमांडर था और एक इंतहाई खतरनाक और मतलूब दहशतगर्द था। सदाम कई अहम वाक़यात का मास्टरमाइंड रहा है। हालिया पेशावर स्कूल पर हमले में सद्दाम पर इल्ज़ाम था कि वो फैसिलिटेटर रहा है, जिसकी तहकीकात अभी इंटेलिजेंस एजेंसीज कर रही हैं और उसका तयन होना अभी बाकी है।
Meanwhile, an anti-terrorism court in Islamabad said legal loopholes in the Mumbai terror attack case led to the granting of bail to its alleged mastermind Zakiur Rahman Lakhvi. The Pak government has now received a copy of the bail order and will challenge it when courts reopen in the first week of January. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, news of another bout of US-North Korea acrimony. North Korea slammed the United States over the release of the movie The Interview amid a confrontation between them over cyber hacking of film studio Sony Pictures. North Korea also said that the US was responsible for internet outages it has experienced in recent days.
Look at this. Kim Jong-un wants to do an interview with Dave Skylark?
The backlash. Days after the interview was released online, on YouTube and through independent cinemas. The controversial movie revolves around a fictional plot to kill North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
In a room alone with Kim. We got the interview!
North Korea throws the blame directly at US President Barack Obama. In a statement attributed to the National Defense Commission, Obama is termed the chief culprit who forced the production company to indiscriminately distribute the picture. There was even racial abuse. Obama was called a monkey inhabiting a tropical forest. Pyongyang also accuses the US of being responsible for internet outages it has faced in recent days. It also rejects accusations by the FBI that North Korea was behind cyber attack on Sony Pictures and demanded the US give evidence for its accusations. The string of charges comes even as the comedy film The Interview grossed more than $1 million on Thursday alone in a limited release at the US box office.
This is like one of the hot topics on the internet recently, and we really wanted to come and see what all the fuss is about.
I think the draw is I think there's something inherently American about being told you can't do something and wanting to do it, and kind of the prohibition surrounding it of theater chains saying no, we're not going to show it.
The run-up to the release has been filled with hurdles. Sony Pictures had pulled out the $44 million film after an unprecedented hacking attack. The hackers even threatened terror attacks on cinemas screening the film. But under criticism from Obama himself, among others, for caving into pressure from North Korea, Sony had decided on a limited release. North Korea's backlash has not been far behind. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Some sports now. An Australian captain, Stephen Smith, put his team in command of the third test with a memorable ton. On day 2 of the third test between India and Australia at the MCG, Smith ended with 192 to take his innings to 500. Take the innings total to 500, resuming the day at 259 for 5. Smith and Brad Haddon scored 110 runs for the 6th wicket. Smith was then supported by low-order batsman Ryan Harris, who finished with 74 runs. He was finally bowled out by Umesh Yadav, 8 runs short of his first double ton. Mohammad Shami finished with 4 wickets, while Yadav and R. Ashwin took 3 wickets each. India started positively but lost opener Shikhar Dhawan on 55 runs. But Murali Vijay continued to lead the charge, scoring his 4th half-century of the series. India finished the day at 108 for 1 with Vijay and Pujara on the crease. India still, though, trailed by 422 runs. Well, that's the news tonight. Good night.